All right, let's try to do this concisely. All right, one, no image. It's early at work, so who cares? Two, if you're struggling with an addiction to pornography, I'm going to give you some tips of how I overcame my struggle. I struggled for 10 years plus, and I had to get my act together. Otherwise, I was going to lose my family. I was going to lose everything I loved and cared about. So I'm going to start off by saying if you're struggling with sin of pornography, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to just, one, remove all access to that. I don't care if you have to have Facebook. You got to be serious here. If you feel like you're struggling, you've got to give up whatever access you have. You don't need Facebook if you're finding ways to watch things you shouldn't watch. And you don't need YouTube if you're watching that stuff. You can come back in a few years, you'll be all right. Because if you don't, you're going to be in an endless cycle like I was. I didn't remove my access, and I just kept falling into the same traps over and over. So one, remove the access. Two, which this should have been number one, if you're struggling with this, for some reason you might think it's wrong. If you think it's wrong, it's probably because it is. Because it is wrong to look at a woman that is not your wife and desire her sexually. It's called lust, and it is wrong because you feel shame when you do it. If you feel shame when you do it, something's not right there. So you need to ask God is what you need to do first. That's the first thing I should have said is you need to ask God to save your life, dude or girl. Because I did not do it by myself. There's no way I could have done it by myself. So you need to ask God to change your life, and you need to give it up. Give it to God. Take away all the access and pursue God. If you don't, the only person you'll have left in your life is maybe God, if you haven't butchered it up enough. So that should have been number one, but we made it number two. Number three, you've got to practice your self-control because there's triggers. There are triggers that will trigger you into looking, into lusting, into the situation. I knew there were triggers for me, and I know there's probably triggers for you. So you've got to figure out what triggers you to do that. Whether you're alone, whether you're scrolling through the phone, whether you're, whatever the case may be, if you're just watching TV. Whatever your trigger is, you got to figure it out, and you've got to be ready. Because when the trigger hits, it's like a gun going off. The trigger is about to get squeezed. Don't get to that point. Have self-control and move out of that situation. And don't get back in the situation because your body will tell you to get back in that situation. That's a good place. But it does not account for the shame that you feel afterwards. So whatever your trigger is, figure it out quickly. And triggers often come from bad habits. It's really just what triggers your bad habit. And I honestly cannot remember mine because it's been too long. But the obvious ones could be sitting and doing nothing. Go work out. Go for a walk. Fill your time. Spend time with your family. If you're feeling like doing something bad, do the opposite of what you should be doing. If you're struggling with it and you have a wife, talk to the wife. Well, maybe not right now, but like if you're thinking about pursuing some other woman, pursue your wife. Don't be looking at that cheap thing, because I tell you what, sex is better than any pornography you could ever watch. So use your time wisely while you've got it. But also, don't, they say the thing about idle hands, really just fill your time up. Fill it up. And if you ever find yourself in the moment where you're just like, I don't want to do it, but I'm here and it's so pleasurable, but no, this is a moment where you've got to turn away. If you do not, you start right back over to where you didn't want to be. You feel good for a moment and the shame hits. And if there's anyone you have to be accountable to me, that was the worst part. Going to the wife and saying, love, I need to talk to you. And when I said that, she knew. And the shame hit harder than ever. And if she cried, if she needed time to talk or to think, man, that hurt even worse, because I felt uncertain about my marriage. But I tell you, if you have a godly wife, a good wife, who is patient, you can work it out. But I tell you, patience is only so much, because we're all human and we're not like God. And patience always runs out unless you're God. But thankfully, I was able to get my act together before she left me forever. And I don't know exactly all the things. I just know that I beat this. And the ways that I beat it were just figuring out my triggers and asking God and just praying every time. Just ask God, please help me, Lord. Please help me overcome this. And if you are struggling right now, I will be praying for you. For anyone and everyone who's struggling right now. Because this stuff will tear your life apart. Some people have gone broke. Some people have killed themselves. And I'll be honest, I thought about ending my life because of how ashamed I was and how tired I was of failing every single day. But thank God that I didn't. Because if you ever feel like killing yourself, it is Satan, and you need to pray and you need to get out of the mindset right now, because that's all Satan wants to do. He wants to kill you, he wants to destroy you, and he wants to take everything that you have. And when you think about it, he wants to kill you, take away your family, and he wants to give your family to somebody else. So I tell you right now, you need to get right with God right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is hope. There is hope at the end of this tunnel that seems like it never ends. That you just seem like you're lost in this darkness. But I tell you, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I promise you. Because to this day, I don't watch this stuff. It does not have a hold on me. The only person that has a hold on me is my wife. All I want to do is sleep with my wife. That's all I want to do. And even looking at other women, I still struggle with that, because lust has not been defeated, but my struggle with pornography has been defeated. Because I'll look at a woman But if I look at her more than once, I know that I'm doing the wrong thing. If I look at any of her body parts, I know I've done the wrong thing. If I glance over to see who it is and it's a woman, that's fine. But if I keep looking, that's where I'm wrong. And if I intentionally look with a, with a bad heart, with it wrong intentions, then I know I've done wrong. But do I indulge in the image and thoughts of another woman? That's a fat no. And that's my crutch, because I'm not perfect, because I've overcome pornography, but I have not overcome the struggle of lust. And I don't know if it's lust. Honestly, I don't know if it's lust, because I look at women, but I don't think about them sexually. But I think that I'm drawing too close to that tunnel that I once was in, when I look at someone and I have thoughts of what I would do to them, or have thoughts of their body parts. So for me, the struggle still lives, but it's not the same. So maybe my hope for everyone is one day my hope for everyone one day is to not sin anymore, truthfully. But I'll take what I can get. Is that if you can ever reach this point where you're no longer desiring pornography, but you're struggling with not looking at women passing by. And when I say struggling with women passing by, just driving by and you're just like, oh look, there's a woman. My mind is still trained to be able to find that, and I just hate it. But now I have that moment where I can decide, do I look again? And if I look again, if I don't turn and I keep looking, or I start to explore this person's body with my eyes, yeah, now I'm in deep doo doo. So that's just me, and that's where my shame lies. Is I wish that I wouldn't even do that. That I wish I could look at women with a pure heart. But I don't know if it, and that's the thing, when you're in the midst of something, you don't know if it'll ever stop. Like if you're in the midst of struggling with viewing that stuff, you don't know if you'll ever win. But because I've overcome it, I know you can win. But I don't know if I'll overcome my struggle with women and being able to view them in a pure heart sense. But anyways, I'll be praying for you, and I hope that you have a good day. And if you're struggling, you gotta pray, man, and you gotta pray, girl, because you're not gonna do this by yourself. Thank you. Have a good day.